WWE weekly television shows put on one heck of a performance this week because both Raw and SmackDown put together excellent shows with great storytelling and fantastic matches. In fact, I would dare say that this is the first week of WWE television in a long time where if you miss the shows, you're actually gonna be behind on what's going on in the world of the WWE. And that's because WWE storytelling actually pushed the envelope this week and gave us some very important segments. And no segment was more immaculately executed than the long-awaited implosion of the LWO and the heel turn of Santos Escobar. And I'm in LWO gear, so let's talk about it. And hey, as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring that bell for notifications so that you don't miss any of the videos that we upload. If you're a wrestling fan, I know you're gonna fall in love with this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. Also, a huge shout out to our patrons at patreon.com/SantiZap. We're about to cross 100 patrons, so thank you so much for helping keep the lights on and helping keep the mics on. If you're interested, if you go over to patreon.com/SantiZap, you're gonna get even more wrestling content than you're already getting on this channel. You're gonna get the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days early, the ability to submit questions, the Raw reviews, the SmackDown reviews, and more. Actually, if you hop over there, the most recent review for SmackDown's already been uploaded. So thanks again for the patrons for helping keep the lights on and the mics on. Let's get back to the video. Look, it's no secret that the LWO as a faction in any of the storylines and feuds that they've been in have fallen flat and felt stale. After that initial nostalgia dopamine hit faded away after Backlash in Puerto Rico, it was clear that this faction simply had no legs. They had no identity beyond, yay, we're Latinos, please root for us. As they would just painfully try and get that lame ass LWO chant with no one chanting back. Honestly, every time they tried that lame chant, I suffered from secondhand embarrassment. And as a Latino myself, that shit didn't work. Because although they were trying to play up to our patriotic pride as a Latino, we, along with everyone else on the planet, saw right through this lame ass group of losers. And losers they absolutely were, because this group was better off being called the Loser World Order because all they did was lose match after match after match after match. And it didn't help that the group had these two dudes. I don't even know which one is who. I know their names are Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, but if you were to put me in a jigsaw trap and told me, I want to play a game, you have to identify which one of these is which, I'm dead. I'm literally dead. I could not tell you which one is which. And they tried really hard to revive the magic of the LWO by bringing back Carlito at the WWE Premium Live event Fastlane to tag with Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar, but ultimately it just felt a little too late. Actually, late, kind of like Carlito was late as he showed up late to that match too. Honestly, the most interesting program and match that the LWO was involved in was the feud for the United States Championship between Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio. And ultimately, that wasn't even an LWO feud, that was a Rey Mysterio feud, which further demonstrated that the only individual that people cared about in the LWO was Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega. We all like and care about Zelina Vega. And with Rey losing the United States Championship, I was entirely ready to give up on this faction, scrap it, burn it, start over, but I forgot who was in charge of the WWE nowadays, because this is the Triple H era, and something that Triple H has demonstrated time after time after time is his refusal to give up on people, and more specifically, his refusal to give up on factions. Let's look at Exhibit A. Just look at the Judgment Day, because for the first year of their existence, things just weren't working out with them. They were lame, stale, and they lost every single major feud that they were a part of, but Triple H refused to scrap them and kept pushing forward with them, even though many of us in the WWE universe were calling for us to just hit the eject button on Judgment Day. And look at Judgment Day now. They're one of the most powerful factions that the WWE has ever seen, honestly. And they sit at the top of every single WWE storyline and feud. And I swear I would have laughed in your face if you told me that they were going to be in the main event segment of like everything a year ago. And Triple H has demonstrated that he's here for the long haul to make faction storylines work, and it wasn't just with the Judgment Day. Look at Damage Control. We were calling this women's faction experiment an utter failure mere months after the formation at SummerSlam 2002, a formation that had so much buzz behind it. And just like Judgment Day, they were finding themselves losing every match, every feud, and they were essentially just used as fodder to feed the bigger stars in the women's division, like Becky Lynch, like Asuka, like Charlotte, and like Bianca Belair. But look at them now. They stand at the very top of the women's pecking order on SmackDown. Frankly, not that there's that much competition, but they're probably the greatest women's faction in WWE history now. They are routinely now coming out on top of feuds with perennial main eventers like Charlotte and Bianca. They have a women's champion. They just added Kairi Sane and Asuka to their ranks, all after being basically dead in the water by many fans less than a couple of months ago. So honestly, with all of this evidence that Triple H continues to give chance after chance after chance to factions, it's my fault for not being more patient with the LWO, knowing exactly what kind of booker Triple H is. Because with the LWO, Triple H just delivered one of the most intriguing and kind of heart-wrenching heel turns that I've ever seen. And this was a heel turn that was uniquely drawn out through an entire segment, and even through a match, and even post that match, as opposed to just the classic flip of the switch that we've become accustomed to. Instead of just randomly turning him heel at one point or another, we got to see the gut-wrenching and emotional roller coaster that Santos Escobar was forced to go through. This involved a set of accusations against him by Carlito that it was he that cost his hero Rey Mysterio the United States Championship by carelessly leaving the brass knuckles on the ring apron. And of course, Logan would grab those brass knuckles, hit Rey Mysterio, and would go on to become your new United States champion. And this was an accusation that, although very true, may have just very well been simply an accident on Santos Escobar's part, or maybe just a continuous and severe lapse in my judgment. If you got that reference, make sure you sound off in the comments. And it was that set of accusations from Carlito, along with Rey Mysterio slightly doubting Santos Escobar and even shoving him, that forced Santos to battle with his inner emotions and ultimately attack his hero. However, even the attack was drawn out because this wasn't an attack that happened right away. We got to see Santos struggling with the weight of the decision that he was about to make. You could see the emotional turmoil through his body language, through his facial expressions, but ultimately he succumbed and snapped on Rey Mysterio. And this was a brutal attack that even like during the attack, you could tell that Santos Escobar was struggling with what he was doing as he kept shouting at Rey Mysterio, "You did this. It was supposed to be me and you. You were my hero." It was an attack and a heel turn that felt heavy with consequences. It was uncomfortable. And it was fucking awesome. And just like that, Santos Escobar, a character that felt like a one-dimensional lame caricature, became one of the most deeply intriguing and emotionally relatable characters in the WWE today. All because of this expertly written story by Triple H, but most importantly, the expert execution by Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, and Carlito, and of course, the acting of Zelina Vega. In this entire segment, to quote an American hero, it was perfect. Perfect, right down to the last minute detail. And now, for the first time ever, I'm actually clamoring to find out what's next with the LWO. Where will Zelina stand? What will the two NPCs do with this issue? Will we see an LWO civil war? Is Santos gonna go off on his own? Is he gonna recruit more members to his version and his vision of the LWO? I have so many questions, and all of these questions mean that I'm engaged, I'm invested, and I I care. And all of this because the WWE, just like Damage Control and just like the Judgment Day, refused to give up on their vision of the LWO and where it was headed, regardless of the lukewarm or borderline lack of reception from fans. And you have to admire WWE for this and their newfound commitment to long-term storytelling and to make long-term stories work. Now, if they do plan on having Santos Escobar build his own vision, his own version of the LWO, I think I would personally have him recruit Carrillo and Garza from NXT. If you watch my videos on a daily basis, you know that I've been talking very highly of Carrillo and Garza for a very long time, because over the last couple of months, they've been telling a great story of their return back to roots and a return back to their wrestling heritage and ruthlessness, all while putting on banger match of the night contenders every time they're on the NXT card. I think that their newfound intensity would fit in nicely with this new and improved version of Santos Escobar. One last thing, because I have to point this out. Can we maybe just start blaming Rey Mysterio for everybody turning on him? It seems like everyone's like, oh, poor Rey, poor Rey. Everyone turns on him. Batista, Eddie, his own son, now Santos Escobar. Hey, all I see is that the one common thread across all of these is Rey Mysterio. Maybe it's his deadbeat ass that's the problem here, okay? All right, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. What did you think of this heel turn? Did you think that this is one of the best heel turns that the WWE has executed in a long time like I do? Do you disagree? What do you want to see Santos do with this newfound demeanor and this newfound persona? Let me know. That's it. I'm done. Get out of here.